Hi, friends. Do us and yourselves a favor and check out our affiliate, 3 Spirit Drinks. They create plant-based, non-alcoholic elixirs that are cruelty-free and vegan, and they are designed to give you some of the benefits of alcohol without the hangover and other side effects. If you're looking to cut down on alcohol but still want the buzz, check them out. The link is us.3spiritdrinks.com and use the promo code TheActivityContinues for 15% off your entire order. Hi, Ghosty fam. Amy here. Welcome to The Activity Continues, a podcast where 3 friends and soul sisters recap episodes of the TV show The Dead Files and talk about other creepy shit as well, like TV shows we're watching, movies we like, podcasts, TikToks, fun facts, lots and lots of things you never really know what you're going to get.
Thanks for joining us again. This week we are talking about an episode of The Dead Files called Nowhere to Hide. It is a new one. Season 15, Episode 9. It aired on September 21st, 2003. Nope, that's wrong.
What time? I'm back in high school.
I know. I'm just about to graduate. Oh, Lord. What? I said it with such confidence, too, didn't I?
It was
amazing. I'm leaving it in.
Please
The
do.
dongle all over again.
So
Listen, okay?
I love you, Megan.
We're not talking about it because okay, I'm just going to redo it.
Just, you don't have to. I'm going to keep it all in. So
Okay. Then September 21st, 2023, not 2003. Also, please say hello to Amy P, who will give you content warnings and just kind of informational stuff we feel you should know.
Yeah. So, hey, everyone. If you have not watched the show and don't like spoilers, please don't proceed. Go back, watch an older episode. These 2 lovely ladies had a full year before I joined. Plus, we have some other ones in there.
It's true.
And then come back and check out this one once you've watched the episode. We do have some content warnings, and surprisingly, this time we don't have racism as a content warning.
Fell off my
we could
seat.
always talk about it if not.
No KKK connections, thankfully.
Yeah.
So, content warning, though, there is drowning, child death in history, and there is mention of death of somebody recent as well.
Oh, right. Murder.
Oh, murder.
Yep, there was a murder of a family member.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. So other things I wanted to make sure you guys know, you two. I know you two know because I texted you, but we have a new
we know.
We have a new Instagram friend follower whose handle is Mother of Raccoons. She's in Ireland and not the UK part. And I went and looked at her page. She does have raccoons as pets.
I'm so jealous of her.
So you got to go look. You got to go
I
look.
love
at her
little
stuff.
trash pandas.
Oh my God.
I want
so
a
cute.
raccoon and I want a skunk as a pet because I think skunks are the cutest.
Skunks are cute too, as long as you de-stinkify them.
Well, obviously, I'm not going to have a thingy skunk running around my house.
Right. The other thing is next week probably are going to start recording our Halloween special, which is Urban Legends. And we are covering Urban Legends in Minnesota, but we are asking for your urban legends from wherever you live. It doesn't have to be Minnesota. It can be Ireland. It can be anywhere. Any kind of cool urban legend you have.
Ohio.
It could be. Yeah. And so if you have anything like that, you want to get in touch with us and have your story be on the show, whether it's read by us, or you read it, or you join us, or however you want to do that. But give us an email, theactivitycontinues@gmail.com, or leave a message on our website or any of our socials, and we will work with you to get that on.
Yep.
And then, as we have alluded to before, I'm going to be on vacation a week from today. Today is September 24th.
Yep.
And I leave on the 2nd. And you can't come and raid my house because I have somebody staying here and a security system and 4 dogs. But anyway, so I will be in Scotland for 8 days. And so we are not going to be recording during that time, I don't think. I mean, we
No.
could, but
No,
No,
you're
you
on
were not
vacation.
working on your vacation.
well, like I was telling Amy AP earlier via text that when I was in Scotland last time, there's not that much to do in the
No, that was in the
later
group.
evenings.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
What?
remember that. That was in the group. Yeah, I remember you said
Yeah,
you watched
I
the
was
whole
like,
season
we
of
just
Queer Eye.
Queer Eye, yeah. We'd go out, we'd spend
Mhm.
all day doing stuff, running around, and then we'd like go out to the pubs at, dinner time, have
Yep.
drinks, have dinner, and then it's like, well, we're tired. And so we're back at the flat by 8:30 or 9 o'clock, just watching TV.
Mhm.
So I could
That sounds like the
certainly,
dream.
it was. I could
Well, we-
certainly edit
I
during that time.
Want to
but-
put it out there that Megan and I are not putting any of this pressure to do any work
I know.
on Amy, and we are on record saying
Yes.
do not do it.
I know.
Don't blame
know.
us if she
No.
works. We are telling her not to.
That's right. That's right. Well, I'm not going to work at my job work. I'm not doing that. This work's fun though. But anyway, so if you want to see my Scotland adventures, go over to Instagram and follow me. Noodlehead Minneapolis or Noodlehead MPLS is what I am on Instagram. That's my personal one. And I will be posting lots of Scotland stuff there if you want.
My
Awesome.
mom, I went to visit her this weekend and she's like, "Is your friend Amy, does she post all the food on Facebook?" And I was like, "Yes." And she goes,
Yep.
"She tries some interesting stuff. It looks really good." And I'm like, "Yep."
Yep.
That's her and Greg like to do that.
Mhm.
Yep, we do.
Like it just looks so good.
Yeah. I like pretty food. If it's pretty,
Yeah.
I'll take a picture of it, even if it doesn't taste good.
Yeah. Well, that would have been Surly's food, except it wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
It just was
That's
bland
too
and
bad.
ugly,
Ugh,
like
that's
me.
too
My
bad.
drag
Oh,
name,
stop
bland and
it.
ugly.
I believe last time we recorded and we were talking about blue jays and we said they were pretty but annoying, and you said that was you.
God damn it. I have so many facets. I'm multifaceted.
You can't be pretty and ugly.
That's true. I'm going to workshop that.
Okay. And I have one more thing. I have a show recommendation for you. It's the show I was watching tonight. And I said to Greg, everybody else is jumping on. I got to stop. And he paused. I paused it. And he goes, there's only 5 minutes left. You can wait. I'm like, oh, okay. Anyway, it's called The Changeling and it's on Apple. And it is super good. It's a horror. It's quite creepy. Megan, you probably hate it.
I'd probably hate it. Yeah.
You would absolutely hate it actually because it does with a child because that's
Nope.
what a changeling
Yeah,
is.
changeling
Right.
is with a child.
Yeah. Nope. I don't want it.
Yeah, you wouldn't like it. But if you can handle stuff like that, I am finding it really, really interesting and creepy and cool. And
Very cool.
Anybody else have any recommendations?
I would say Glow Up season 5 dropped and I already finished
that
it.
show.
And
Okay, I've got to watch it.
It was a great season.
They are so talented.
I love seeing people who are so creative and talented.
Yes,
And I'm still so mad at Sci-Fi for taking Face off the air and then owning the rights to it and not selling it to somewhere else for it to come on.
Wait, which one's Glow Up?
Glow Up is the one on Netflix where
Isn't that where they do makeup?
Yeah, but Face Off on
okay.
Netflix or on Sci-Fi was the same, but it was more like all the prosthetics and stuff that you would do for movies and all of that stuff, and they would have different challenges. But they took that off of the air years ago because they wanted to get rid of all of their
non-sci-fi stuff.
No, more of their non-fictional shows.
The reality
more
shows.
of their
There we go.
reality shows. Thank you.
Yeah, I love Glow Up. That is such a oh my god, they're so talented. They are so talented.
And it's a new host this year.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna have to check it.
Val cries a handful of times.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I adore them.
They are the cutest. Yeah, I love it. I love that show. All right, I will be checking that out because I didn't know a new one came. So
I've seen it in my carousel scroller thing. I just haven't
really
watched
good.
it.
You know what?
Really
There's a
good.
show for you to watch when you're in Scotland.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's 5 seasons now. They're only 8 episodes apiece.
Okay.
And this,
Well,
I mean,
Love is Blind, I
honestly,
think, is starting up again too. So.
I can barely put eyeshadow on Like I
Yeah.
literally this afternoon was watching TikToks about eyeshadow because I'm like, I don't fucking know
I
what
can't
I'm
do
doing.
eyeshadow. If I do eyeshadow at all, I just have a color that's kind of like my lip color that I
Mhm.
just put on the very lid.
Mhm.
I don't do anything else. And
No.
that just gives it a little bit of depth. That's it. I can't do like full on makeup. Nothing with a color. It has to be like a neutral tone. Anything that's like red or blue or green looks hideous. Hideous on me.
You need to go on Glow Up then because they'll make you look darling with green.
Okay. We'll see.
Yeah. Anyways.
All right. So we are talking about this episode called Nowhere to Hide, season
Mhm.
15, episode 9. And I don't know, how do you want to do this? Should we just kind of run through the notes and chit chat
Yeah.
and holler when we see something we want to talk about?
Absolutely.
So the clients are Job and Melissa, the parents, and this is a blended family, a little Brady Bunch action. 5 kids instead of 6. But so we have Daisy and Annabelle, who they talked to first. And
Yeah.
I assumed that those were Job's kids.
That
I
would be
assume
my.
so because
Yep.
they looked more like him.
Yeah.
Yep.
then-
Yep.
And then Carson, Millie, cutest little thing.
I could
and
not stand
Ainsley.
Millie. She was the cutest. I just wanted to
Cutest.
squish her little face.
I know. And when Steve called her
Oh.
cutie pie and she went,
I was like,
I was like, I'm dying to.
I
It's
just
so
wanted
cute.
to hug her. I just wanted to
No.
squeeze her.
I know.
Mm.
She's so cute. They were
I
all
like it.
cute.
I loved Ainsley's logical.
I did
Mhm.
too.
Like
She's a cute little
mindset.
brainiac. Yep.
Yep. They were all.
And I loved her like little gummy bear earrings she had. They were
Mhm.
I
so
didn't even
cute.
notice that.
Yeah,
Well,
and
it-
they matched her shirt perfectly.
And Daisy and Annabelle too. I mean, they were just like when Annabelle's like, they're coming out of my closet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just matter of fact.
Yeah.
Like,
Just,
yeah,
you
the
know.
noise is in my closet.
Like they
I
do.
had mac and cheese for dinner, and they're coming out of my closet. And
Yeah.
tomorrow is crazy hair day at school, so I'll probably do something for that.
Yep. And that Carson wants to follow along in Dad's
Dad's
footsteps.
footsteps. Yeah. Dad is a paranormal investigator.
Which-
If you didn't catch that. So anything more about the kids? AP, do you want to mention what you wanted to, or what you had written in the notes about the kids?
Well, one of them I just kind of found interesting was like, we saw some things that Cindy kept going on about, like, oh, there's a portal or a doorway. I think she used both terms at
Mhm.
one point during this episode, and that it was opened by a child.
Which
And-
we don't really get into.
We don't, but then this is where my speculation goes into, and I, of course, watch a lot of like the fantasy shows where someone's coming into powers in their teenage years. But-
I do love those shows.
But they had a traumatic incident in their
Mhm.
lives with the loss of their beloved uncle who was at their house all the time. And if somebody
Mhm.
has, and we've heard from others that if you have those kinds of abilities and you don't really know about it, you can inadvertently do
Yeah.
something. And we saw this earlier on in one of the season or one of the episodes I think Amy was still a part of, where I can't remember her name, but she lived with her grandparents for a long time and then inherited the
Oh,
house
yeah,
from her
yeah, yeah.
grandparents.
Oh,
And
the
then
one
her
with the
mom
mom
was-
and the daughter.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then they talked about how somebody opened it or somebody wanted them there. They
Mhm.
brought things in because they were grieving. And so that's where, like, I wonder if there was that kind of piece, and then maybe
Yeah.
it was cut from the reveal or in that conversation to just protect the kids more.
That's interesting that you
something-
say that because I hadn't thought of that. And that's earlier when I was saying, like, I feel like Job reminds me of the woman who got diabetes, who everything was paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what made me, that's why I was comparing him to her, because he was like, well, we had this huge loss. And it's like, that's the only explanation. And I'm like, I don't feel like
Mhm.
that's the only explanation, but I hadn't thought of that angle. So that does actually make
Yeah.
more sense now.
So that's just the way that I thought about it, is like, there's a reason why that's so popular in movies and shows and
Mhm.
and books and everything. But we've seen Amy talk about it before in past
Mhm.
episodes where someone inadvertently called
Yeah.
something there or did something because they didn't understand what they were
Their
capable
gifts.
of.
Yeah,
Mhm,
yeah, yeah.
mhm.
And so that's where I was thinking, is that maybe there's something there. And I love this. This was a quote from Cindy. It said, "One of the kids opened a doorway for spirits. Not all of them are nice." And then it cut away to commercial. And I was like, no shit, Sherlock. Like,
Right. Spirits are like
that's why you're
people.
here.
Not all
Yeah.
of them are nice.
Yeah.
Not all of them are nice. So, especially if the doorway is opened by a kid who doesn't
Mhm.
know what they're doing
Mm-hmm.
and probably is not
grieving.
doing it on purpose, they don't know to say only positive energy is welcome here. You know,
Right.
you have to do that whole thing so that
Mhm.
bad ones don't come in. And kids don't know to do that.
Well, and it's
some
not like
adults don't even know to do that.
I know, I
I
didn't
would-
know until we started doing the show, and
yeah.
we're
I
hearing
would guess
about
that
stuff
she
like
wasn't even trying to do anything, more
Mhm.
so that it was she wanted to maybe wanted to see her uncle again. And I did look into this a little bit,
Right.
and he was murdered outside of a bar when he was with his wife and a few friends. He went out to go for a smoke. And when he didn't come back, his wife went out looking for him and
No.
found him. And she kept calling to him, and he was like, she thought somebody had punched him in the stomach, but then he wasn't responding. And he passed away in the hospital, I believe is what I saw. And
Yeah.
the
They know
murder
why?
it was a cold case for almost 2 years. And then the man was caught
Yeah.
and he was charged and I believe convicted.
That's
He
what
was at least
Job said.
charged with first degree murder, which is,
Mhm. premeditated.
well, it's premeditated, but then there's other connotations that can go into it. So if there was another act of another felony being committed or something like that, that could have been,
Okay.
because we don't know if he was a bystander or targeted or not going
Yeah,
into
yeah,
all
yeah.
that speculation. So, but that's
Do they have a motive?
horrific. Not that I ever saw
I
anything
didn't
on,
see anything about that.
but I didn't go too deep into that. I just kind of wanted to get the basis of, and that's where I really was thinking that maybe there's something with them just being so much on the grieving side of
Mhm.
losing. And I think Melissa said at the end of the episode, he was here all the time.
Right.
And he
And
had
that's what
a
Job said too. Like,
Mhm.
father of 3 as well.
Mm-hmm.
great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, both Melissa and Job said he was there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah,
Yeah.
that's really
That's
terrible.
awful.
So yeah. Great things, right?
Cool,
Great.
cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yay.
I noticed, okay, so it was in Westminster, Colorado, right?
Yep.
And
Mhm.
it's near Denver, apparently.
Mhm.
I was Googling Westminster, Colorado dead files when I was looking for Job and Melissa to see if we could get them on the show. And another Dead Files episode came up. It's Tormented, season 3, episode 10 takes place in Westminster,
Wow.
Colorado as well. So I haven't looked at that. It's from 2013. So
Not too
Another green episode, maybe.
yeah, maybe we'll do
Mhm.
that one. Do that
Mhm.
one again. I noted that they called Job's little
Yeah.
garage a paranormal man cave.
It was a shed. It's a
was
shed in the
shed.
backyard.
Yeah. And I like that, a paranormal
Yeah.
man
I
cave.
was intrigued at the amount of black and red
God.
paint in the entire house.
Yeah.
I
Like
thought
the
their bedroom
bedroom-
was all black. I'm like, how is this welcoming and like
Well,
restful?
Maybe it's not supposed to be. Maybe it's supposed to be like to block out,
Well,
like how Jenny the psychic wears black when she's
Yeah.
doing a reading to keep things
it
from
didn't
getting-
work because Charles in Charge was there.
That's
and
right. We'll get
not
to
a
that.
fan.
Yikes. No, that was
Yep.
awful.
A couple things I noted down was, I know we've talked about this before, but I hate Steve's yes and no questions. I hate them. And also I noticed when he was interviewing the
leading.
kids, he was leading them. Yeah.
Oh, definitely leading the kids for
I was
sure.
like, he's like, oh, did that scare you? I'm like,
Yeah.
can you let them come to their own conclusions? They're kids. They're not morons.
Yeah, I
just-
felt like that too. I felt like he was interrogating them more,
He was like leading
like
them,
to an answer. Yeah,
Yes.
like he had what he wanted them to say.
and he was getting
Well,
them there.
And
Yeah.
we don't know what the conversation is before they start recording. Like, hey, I'm going to ask you these questions. So
I know.
you know,
but it
like,
just-
I also don't care for the leading type questions because I want to hear
their
what is-
thoughts.
and that's a way that I don't use why questions a lot when I talk to people. And that was something I learned because why gets people on the defensive. Like,
Mhm.
if I ask Megan, why do you think that way? You'd be like, Amy, what?
Rude.
I have to defend myself to you?
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah. And then I also said that blue living room with all like the chairs in it. Oh my God, I fucking loved that room.
That was
loved
the
it.
downstairs with the black couch,
Couch.
right?
Yeah.
The
But
like
they
TV
had,
room
like,
area.
chairs everywhere. and
Well, there's so
the
many
wall
freaking
were-
people in that family.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody
But it
wants to
was-
sit that close to somebody else when you're watching a movie.
What if they're dating? They might want to
Eh.
canoodle in on the couch.
Seems sweaty.
Little
Yeah.
canoodling.
If it's
Well,
cold,
as a
then
38-year-old, yes. But like when you're 16 and you've got those butterflies, you want to canoodle. How many
Maybe.
times can I say canoodle?
I don't know.
I don't know. Let's get a tally going.
Do you get paid per
Everybody-
canoodle?
Take a drink every time I say canoodle.
Oh boy. You better say it a few more times. All I have is water. You should have grabbed a soda.
I went
I
with
agree.
Seltzer.
Hop Splash from Sierra Nevada. So they're like seltzer hop water.
Hot water?
Hop.
Hop. Okay.
Hop on pop.
I was like, seltzer to hot water. So
In a can? It's hot?
You know, I just got my propane burner out and just heat it up for a little while. I made sure to pop the top first, though.
pop it. Yeah.
About the
I
time.
was just like, I'm like, hot. That sounds disgusting.
Hops. What?
Hot hop salt.
I mean, we've all
water.
finished a soda or water that we left in the car. That
Yeah.
was, it's
That
not
was
great,
gross.
but you still
Right.
drank it.
It was not great.
Not great.
No.
Mm.
Mm-mm.
I do have a
Okay.
couple other themes that I picked up on, and they'll probably lead into some of the other things that we talked about.
Yeah.
But one of them was notice in the reveal, we barely talk about the cases that Steve uncovers.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
that's this whole season. I feel like we've
Yeah.
barely touched into those.
They're not really matching up with the things that
Mm-mm.
Cindy has seen.
Charles in Charge did.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Well,
I mean, that's
And the
like-
the boy who
the-
drowned too.
yeah, the boy who drowned, and I have
no,
some thoughts.
not really.
I have some thoughts on that.
Yeah, because Steve said he was 19. Steve, the research was he was 19, and Steve and Cindy was like, "I'm 16. I'm getting a 16-year-old."
But we've heard from Amy in the past that spirits on the other side can change
Right.
how they present.
yeah,
They show up how they
And
want you to see them.
He was looking to have a family.
Well,
So
why would he be 16?
But
oh,
as
I'm supposed to be a part of a
younger and fitting in instead of being an
Mhm.
adult to the kids,
Mhm.
and maybe potentially looking that way, because Ainsley saw with her friend a watery
Watery
man.
ghost.
Lottery man
Yep.
that they never talked about after
No.
that.
And that's where I'm like, okay,
And
I
maybe
wonder
they-
if this is
maybe they
that
did,
person. Again,
Yeah.
we don't know what they cut out, but
I don't
That's-
know, but I agree. The editing this time is terrible.
like last episode I thought was a lot better than
I thought last episode was good.
Yeah.
It was better, but this one is real bad. Like, I don't know if they switched
rough.
producers, if they switched editors, what they did, but it's not going great for them, in my opinion. And
Was it this episode where they had it was they were standing outside by the river to talk about the boy who drowned,
yes,
and it's cold. The one guy who he's talking to, you can see him, he's like shivering.
yeah.
I'm like, was this
Was
the
this
purpose?
necessary?
Was
Like,
this-
did you really
Was this
need
like the
to
drone
talk-
shots that you needed to take
Yeah.
15,000 reels of?
Like, did you really need to talk about the boy drowning in the river by the actual river? Like I feel like that's just for dramatic effect and has
Yeah.
no real point.
And
Yep.
I'm guessing that there was never anything on the autopsy. They couldn't find anything wrong. So either an aneurysm or blood
Well,
clot or heart attack.
Yeah,
So
I
blood
mean,
clot
he
breaking up into the
screamed.
heart.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so it wasn't my initial thought was there some animal that grabbed him?
That's
Mhm.
what Greg thought. Greg said he
Yeah.
thought it was a carp.
A carp? I
A
don't
carp.
They can
Because
get
you're-
pretty big.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I don't
do you-
think they're not aggressive, are they?
Yeah.
Carps? They're like
Yeah.
bottom feeders.
Yeah,
I
but I,
mean,
think
they're
that they will.
opportunistic, but
Yeah.
Oh.
I think that he had, because they didn't find any marks on the body either.
That's
At
true.
least at
Oh,
least
that's
what was
true.
put in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So they don't, because they said they don't know what happened. So my thoughts,
It's probably something
logic
internal.
brain also went to either like a blood clot dislodging, aneurysm, or heart attack.
Mhm.
I would say, I mean, aren't aneurysms typically painless? Or do they? I don't know. I have no.
They could vary
There's
Oh,
different kinds of
But they're gonna be
aneurysms, too. There's
quick.
brain
Yep.
and then
Yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah.
heart.
throughout the body. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
Yep.
that.
Yeah, I knew someone who had a stomach aneurysm.
Ooh,
She nearly died. It
woof.
was bad.
Yep. And then so there's all sorts of things that could just be an
Mhm.
electrical mischarge, but that wouldn't necessarily have a scream
Yeah.
sound, other than if he was struggling
Yeah.
to try and get up to the surface or something.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
And then one other one that I had is, why is it the previous landowner always somebody who had an awful marriage, dies penniless, broken, and alone,
Penniless and
And-
alone.
and hates his wife.
Mhm.
Yep. There's a lot of
And-
misogyny in this season.
Mm-hmm. But like that was a theme that I feel like has been in the last few episodes
Mhm.
of they did something and then they were great at one point and then they cast off.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, something happens to change their
Mm-hmm.
personality, their life,
Fortunes.
whatever.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Amy, did you want to go through your other themes that you have, or do you want
Yeah,
to do
that was
or-
one of them. And then my other theme was really just that Cindy has. I like that has the drawings of the spirit guides that she's been doing,
Mhm.
and that at least in the last couple now she's telling them to hang it. So that must
Mhm.
mean that it's getting to stay.
Yeah.
Yes. That reminds me, I talked to I emailed with Donalyn from the
Yep.
last client episode, and she sent me the picture. I showed it to you two already. I'm
Yep,
going to put
yep.
it on the socials. It'll be up by the time this comes out. The picture that Cindy drew of the 16th century nun, which they all said was her grandmother, looked just like her grandmother.
Mm.
And she sent me a picture of her grandmother too. So I will put those up on the socials. And then, so Reagan did get to keep that picture.
Oh, good.
Good.
She said, because
Good.
she sent me a picture of the picture. So like she took
Awesome.
a picture with her phone or whatever.
Pictureception.
So yeah, I think they do the Cindy's pictures they get to keep, but the
Good.
sketches I don't.
Yeah.
I
know,
think
which
the
is-
sketch artists get to keep the sketches, because when somebody asked that in the Facebook group, someone said, "Oh, I got to keep mine from when I was on the show."
Mhm.
And I thought that was a client, and I was like
Mhm.
looking for him to see if we can find him. And it was a sketch artist.
Mm.
Oh,
And she was saying
maybe
when I
like for their
was
portfolio
portfolios.
or something.
Okay.
so, yeah.
Makes sense.
Still, couldn't they make like a photocopy of it or something to
well,
give to
I
the
think
client?
it would be really cool to have like a big coffee table book with all of them in it. But I guess that would be something that might be a nightmare logistically for
Yeah.
the show to do, to get the rights to
Right,
all
the
of them.
copyright. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be cool. I mean, I worried about showing them, like putting them up on socials and stuff. But I mean, I'm not like, I'm not getting high quality pictures that someone could print out and hang on
Mhm.
their wall. These are pictures I took of my computer screen or my TV
Right.
screen with my phone. They're
Right.
usually all skewed and there's
Right.
writing all over it.
Right.
So and
Mhm.
nobody has said anything to me about putting them up. So I think it's fine.
Yeah.
But and then
And it's
Cindy
not like you're
shared.
claiming them as your own.
Right. But I mean, like if I had a really, really good picture of, of one of those or something else that people would want, they could print it out. And
Mhm.
if it was a good
Yeah.
high quality,
Yeah.
and then instead of buying it from the person, they would just
Mhm.
print out their own. But yeah, these are not that high quality. I don't think anyone's going to do that. If they do, that's whatever. So yeah, the AP Amy had thought about all these episodes that we've been watching and noticed that there were these
Mhm.
reoccurring things: the poltergeist,
Mhm.
the portal, the landowners, the things
Themes. Spirit guides.
things that are showing up. And the last one on your list, family not doing the things that Cindy said to do.
At least from what's being shown in the
Right.
reveal, we don't
Mhm.
know if there's something else there and if it was like edited in a way, which you would think, why wouldn't you want to show that if that's what they end
Mhm.
up, who knows? But yeah,
And it wasn't even like we're looking for a male medium. It was just like we talked to
We
the
went and got an
Catholic
exorcist.
priest and
Yeah.
they exorcised the house and we're good.
Yeah. And, like we were saying, since everything is so highly edited, it's quite possible that
Right.
she did say, or you could go get an exorcism.
Mhm.
It's possible she said that, and that's what they chose.
because she has said that in the past too with some of them, like if that doesn't work, then you should try this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And she might
So-
have, and they just cut it.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's why I
Uh,
want to talk to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to have them on and ask what's going on.
Oh, for
But-
sure.
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
Oh,
for
for sure.
sure.
Do we want to talk through just the cases the history that Steve found on some of those?
Sure.
Because I know we touched on them a little bit,
A little bit. Yeah.
but I know you've got some information on this, Amy, and I looked into diphtheria a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And I looked into how much $100,000 was today.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Charles we're talking about first, right? Charles Harris, born 1853 in Connecticut. And then he moved to Denver. He married Florence Rust. She was the daughter of a lumber baron.
Which the captions called it lumber bear.
I know. I'm like,
money, 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 money.
Baron, not bear.
I know. I was like, what's a lumber bear? And then I'm like, oh, it's a baron. Okay.
And we are also getting this information from Sarah Dawson, the genealogist.
Not a gynecologist.
Correct. Definitely different things they look at.
Whenever I'm watching this with Greg and there's a genealogist and I always say, not a gynecologist, he goes, what? I'm like, never mind.
Like,
you don't listen to our show.
You're not cool
The
enough
first
to
time
know.
I did it, he laughed really hard. And I'm like, you should listen to our show. We're funny.
Funny, Gregory.
Jeez.
That's
we are.
your real name. We're hilarious.
It's Skeptic, actually.
Yeah.
Skeptic.
First name
Gregory.
Skeptic.
Yeah.
Attempted murder on a ghost, cursed paintings burning houses down, and lighthouse keepers disappearing without a trace. The world is filled with astonishing stories that will make you go and shrug, saying, well, I don't know what's going on here, but it is certainly strange. My podcast, Certainly Strange, is a collection of these bizarre tales. Each episode I tell a separate story and share my own unfiltered opinions and theories about it. If this sounds interesting to you, come and join me on this journey through the strangest parts of our history.
So Florence, she brought $100,000 into the marriage from her father.
That's a shit ton at that point in time.
$3 million.
Really?
Yep.
That in today's
$3
money.
million in today's money.
And she didn't need him.
And he blew it all.
It was 1887, so she did because she was
I
just
know.
a woman. A stupid woman who couldn't think for herself.
I mean, we only got the ability to have credit cards like 50 years ago.
I know.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Wasn't it like in the 70s? Yeah. Yep. It's great.
Yep.
God.
But yeah, what did they had 4 children, I believe, is what Sarah mentioned.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, when they got after they had all that money, then he went and bought hundreds of acres, and part of that was the land that the house is on.
Mm-hmm.
And bad things started happening, and they all got diphtheria, which diphtheria is preventable by vaccines. Thank you, science.
Get your
Nowadays.
vaccine.
Yes. It is still something that can be found in countries with lower healthcare systems, but it is pretty much
in America,
not
when
around.
People decide to not vaccinate their children.
I wasn't going to go through that.
And then they wonder why measles comes back. Gee, I wonder.
Yes.
Barbara.
But yeah, so diphtheria.
Not my mom.
Some of us might have seen this on Oregon Trail.
Yes. No,
I'm too old for Oregon Trail.
Oh,
it was dysentery.
Well, I'm sure diphtheria was in there too. Cholera was.
Yeah.
A few others, but nonetheless, it's a pretty gross disease. It's an infection caused by bacteria, which then creates a toxin that eats the healthy tissues. And if that toxin gets into the blood system, it's pretty bad. But they call it the strangling. I think strangling angel you had written down, but it's a strangling disease because it's a gray pseudo membrane.
Gross.
Covers the mouth, the nasal, the voice box, and can build up and basically, yeah.
So you can't breathe. You feel like you're being
and you
strangled.
struggle to breathe. So it's not surprising that the children, unfortunately, being younger and not being able to
I'm gagging.
handle some of that. Yep. So maybe a content warning for diphtheria.
Oh my God, that's so gross.
Yep.
That's gross.
But it is often if one person has it in a household, the whole household is going to get it. And so that was part of Florence's book of divorce that she served to Charles eventually was the neglect
of divorce.
Yeah, the
Published
the
by
neglected
Penguin Publisher.
Top seller, New York Times.
Amazon, you can pre-order it.
Well, they just like set it down. They're like, there's the divorce decree. Oh, that thing's a book.
Yeah. I did think that her claims for divorce were a little far-fetched. some of them like stole the family's money. Yes, he did 100% do that. But like neglected the kids and leading to their deaths, I don't know about that.
Well, we don't know all the
we don't know.
information that's
I mean,
in there either. Because I
didn't
was
read
like,
the book. It's on.
Yeah.
It's getting delivered by Amazon.
well, I thought the same thing about that, but then I was like, or he had the ability to go and like one person got sick, and you know how we have some people who are like, and you're fine.
Yeah,
Suck it up, you're fine.
Yeah.
And is that what ended up happening, or was
Blood's
it just
coming out of their mouth?
or
You're
just
fine.
just a complete
tissue.
ignoring that anything is wrong until he got sick or something?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like that's where my brain went.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too, is like he might have been the least sick of them. And she probably felt he could have done something to save those kids, like bring them to the hospital, go get some medicine or whatever. And he didn't do it. I
suppose if my child died, I would blame John.
You know,
all right.
So yeah, two of the kids
Bringing
passed away.
It down.
Two of the kids passed away. Two of them survived. The parents did survive, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Of course, because she divorced him.
She divorced him then later. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you could try.
And then he died after, he was 90 when he finally died. It feels like, excuse me, I just burped right into the mic for you.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
See, I didn't hear it either.
It was in the throat. It was kind of interesting because I feel like life purposely pulled him along and just cut him down and cut him down and cut him down. Maybe he really wasn't a great guy. And that's where all these things, in some areas we've seen where it's like, oh, this might be connected to paranormal. I think it's just, he just had a shitty life.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And maybe it was karma.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't paranormal.
That's exactly what I was going
at
with.
90
with broken hips and starvation.
Was that was old.
That's a long life. In 1944, that's old.
Yeah.
I mean, that's old now, but
that
was real old in 1944.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sounds like he died horribly. I mean, starvation is not a good way to go.
And especially in the 40s when they probably didn't have a lot of medication to help ease his pain and suffering.
And he didn't have any money, right? So it's not like he could have had a home nurse or anything.
Right.
Yep.
I wonder where his kids were, the two surviving ones. I wonder if they just completely...
Well, if Florence, whenever they divorced, so it was 1892?
Yeah.
1892, yeah.
Columbus sailed the ocean blue and Florence filed for divorce. That's how that goes.
Wasn't it 1790?
No, it was 1492.
No, it was 1492, but also Columbus did not discover America.
I know he didn't, but that's how it goes.
I know.
That's the song.
They discovered. I just said Columbus sailed the ocean.
I know. I was just putting it in because we are coming up on Indigenous Peoples Day.
Columbus is the worst.
It's on my birthday, usually.
Happy birthday to you.
Anyway, belong in a zoo.
You look like a monkey.
And he smelled like what?
Gracie's over here howling at me, wagging her tail. Vivia's in her bed down there. Tail is whipping her in the face. She's crying. You can bite her, boo-boo. Just bite her.
Gracie.
Just bite her.
Gross.
Anyway, okay. What do we got now?
We talked about the boy who died a little bit, but we had a historian. Joel Kryhart was a historian. It was Paul Robert Rudolph, who was 19, swimming in July of 1908. Because that was the other thing I was looking at. I was like, I wonder if the water was super cold. It was a shock to the system. But it's July. Yeah. The water can still be cold, but probably wasn't,
not cold.
Not ice out cold.
Right.
Well, where is, I know I should know this, but Denver, is that like more central Colorado, more north? Where is it located?
No, it's on the east side of the Rockies.
Okay. Because that could be, more northern Colorado could be colder than
it's
the south.
Still in July.
You got it right. You got it right.
South.
Nailed it.
Was it north, south, or just south? Oh, that was so funny.
Megan, I have to say, I thought for the longest time during that you were pulling our leg, and I was like,
nope.
Yep. Okay.
I'm just that stupid.
No, you're not stupid.
It was funny. Comedy gold.
Okay.
If you guys don't know what we're listening what we're talking about, listen to the last episode. I think it was the last one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
The one that's
And
already
I was
out.
so adamant that I was right. I was so adamant that you guys were wrong, and eventually you'd see it my way.
It didn't work out that way for you, did it?
No, it didn't.
That's okay.
It's fine.
Gravity
That's
pulls
okay.
us south into the center of the earth.
Yes, that's
Right.
how it works. Anyways, yeah, so Paul Robert Rudolph, he was, jumped into the water in July with a bunch of kids. He went swimming with friends, screamed, and then drowned. And they showed the newspaper clipping, and the title says, "Boy with cry sinks to death among terrorized swimmers," which, like, I get that they're trying to sell newspapers, but
Yeah.
it's just a little much.
Yeah.
Amy looked in newspapers.com and got nothing on
Yeah.
that.
I searched that title, that headline.
Mhm.
I searched
Mhm.
his name.
Mhm.
I didn't see anything in the papers, but that doesn't mean it wasn't there. It just means
Yeah.
it wasn't that whatever paper it was in is not indexed
It's
in
not
the
in newspapers,
newspapers.
yeah.
I thought it was heartbreaking when you hear Cindy say he's interacting with the children, the kids, because he wants a family again.
Yeah.
I know,
So
that
he's
was
been-
so sad.
You know, because he was taken so quickly, which
Mhm.
does lead me to believe head or heart issue,
Mhm.
and that he's been searching for family again. And I know she kept being like 16, 16, 16.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I can think of, is that he's then makes it seem like he's closer to their age. So he's not an adult to them.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a pretty sad one.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah. And then we go
Oh, and
into go ahead.
I just want to note that Cindy did also say that she got the name Bobby.
Mhm.
She
Mhm.
thought his name was Bobby or Robert. Well,
Yep.
and his middle name was Robert. It's quite possible he went by that
Yeah.
Yes.
as
Yep.
opposed to going by Paul.
Like maybe his dad's name was Paul or a grandfather's name was Paul.
You know what?
or
I work with
something.
a handful of guys, and they all go by their middle name.
Really?
Or maybe they
Yep.
just really like it.
Yep. So they all go by their middle name, and some of them a shortened version of their middle name. So
Huh.
it's kind of interesting. But I also did like that she's been getting the names pretty close or
She
right
has?
on.
Yeah.
And then the
She got
automatic
Charles,
writing.
too.
Yeah, the automatic
Yeah, she
writing to
did.
try and get Charles to open up a little
Mhm,
bit or give her
mhm.
information. I don't know much about it. Like, I've heard about it, but it'd be really cool if there's anybody out there who
Yes.
does automatic writing
Yes.
or teaches people how to do it, to let us know. We'd love to
Yeah.
talk to you and just understand a little bit about what
'Cause
that
they
process
don't-
is like.
I've noticed in this with Cindy that they don't explain things the way that Amy did.
Mm-mm.
Like Amy would be like, poltergeist activity, and then she'd do like a
Oh, a little voiceover. Yeah.
And Cindy doesn't. Like, she talks about automatic writing and then doesn't really talk about what that is. And
Mhm.
she talks about poltergeists, and I'm like, okay, what do you think poltergeists are? Like, do you agree with Amy? Do you have your own kind of definition? Like, she
Well,
doesn't
she
really
did. She did talk about it. I'm just thinking about poltergeist because I remember thinking this was the first time I had heard it explained like this. She was saying that you need 3 things.
Yes,
have a
I did-
poltergeist?
Yes.
You need to have the trauma.
Mhm.
Mhm. Anger, like fighting.
Yes, fighting amongst the others. That was in this episode, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yep.
it
Said
was.
that?
And
think-
somebody
I think
who
I
has
wrote it down then,
gifts
but I can't.
that
Yeah.
they don't understand.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which then makes sense, because I think that ties into a lot of what Amy has said, just described differently. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
being that it's usually, connected to somebody
Yeah.
who has some sort of ability.
Well, and often it's a
Kid.
young person who is just sort of becoming an
Mhm,
adult. And I assume that Daisy, she's the one that
Mhm.
had the poltergeist. And so she's, she looks to be what, 14
Tween.
or something. Did I
Yeah.
write down how
Yeah,
old she is?
12 maybe?
Yeah, I would put her at a tween.
12 to 13 is
I didn't put her age down. Yeah. So she could be, that she could be on that cusp
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
where those sort of abilities start peeking out. Like, so she doesn't even know she's doing it,
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, the last one, I thought this was kind of interesting with what Steve found out, bringing in Lisa Hawker, who's an author. And somebody we've probably all heard of is Ma Barker. being
not
kind
heard
of
of Ma Barker.
really.
Yeah.
Oh, she was a gangster leader in the 1920s and 30s.
Good
And
for
she
her. Break
ran
that glass ceiling.
she ran the she had 4 boys, and
Feminism.
she didn't have a great life, if I remember. She had kind of like weird, not great marriages, and she kind of just decided to take charge of things.
Mhm.
Not
She's
for her. Love that
she's
journey.
been presented as this like cutthroat killer and everything
Of
throughout
course
history.
because she's a woman.
Well, and it was
And she was.
she was. Well,
I mean,
then
there's that.
But if she would have been a man cutthroat killer, they would have said that she just is take charge and she knows what she wants.
Well, and it was, in that time too, where things were
She was
so
determined.
so dramatized and romanticized in the
Mhm.
1920s and 30s, because it was the poor and the working class who were getting screwed over, still are, by
I was just
everybody.
gonna say, still are.
And so they took life and, kind of things into their own hands. Amy, I
Bonnie
know
and Clyde.
you on another podcast that you have,
Land.
Sedland, you guys covered Ma Barker.
We did talk about her a bit because she and her gang, the Ma Barker gang, were
The Ma
in
Barker gang,
Minnesota.
see?
They were in Minnesota for a while. They lived here in that time, and
Did they live in the cities?
they did their crimes. Yeah.
Mm.
So
There was the whole, all like Nicollet Island and everything has caves that are run underneath.
Mhm.
That was all for bootlegging.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
we did talk about her a little bit, and it was funny when they showed the picture of the guy. Lloyd was his name.
Yep, Lloyd, her youngest.
I was like, I recognize that mugshot. Like, I think we talked about him. I know we
know
talked about
him?
Ma Barker, but I think we talked about him in particular, or at least we had that mugshot. But yeah.
I will say I listened to My Favorite Murder, and Karen recently, sometime in the last several months, did an episode on Ma Barker. It was episode 364. I thought it was a really interesting story because they went really deep into a lot of the history. So you'd gain, and you could see why people rooted for her. And she was like a thorn in the side of J. Edgar Hoover and who started the FBI and everything.
Yeah.
Like, she eluded them and she got away with a lot of stuff.
Good for her. Break the ceiling.
Yeah. So it's a really good listen. I think it gives you a little bit different feel and aspect to something that's been romanticized throughout history.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So anyways, the story is not about Ma Barker.
No.
It's about, fortunately, her son, Lloyd, who is the youngest. And he just...
This was so sad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he went to jail for robbery, turned his life around, got out, married a woman. She had kids from a previous marriage. They had, I think they said they had 2 children together.
Yep.
And then she was mentally ill. And, we don't talk about the mentally ill because if we ignore them, it'll just go away.
She was probably just having her period.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was having the vapors. No, she had mental illness and it was ignored, and she murdered him. She called him home one day and I believe she said that there was something wrong with the children. And so he came home, opened the door, and she literally shot him in the head, like completely ambushed him.
Mm-hmm.
And his story ends only 5 years after Charles as well. I didn't realize that connection until reading through the notes and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
And and she shot him. She shot him with a shotgun, I believe, is what we heard.
Which, like, there could not have been much left of that head.
No.
Not to be graphic, but a shotgun at close range.
Yes.
There's nothing else there. There's nothing there.
And
Poor
but then
guy.
that was interesting. And this is where we see things not tying fully together, because Cindy sees a man with a shotgun. And then they try to tie that to the murder of the cousin, because they talk a little bit. Well, Lloyd was killed by his wife, but you saw I think Steve said, you saw the perp with the gun. You saw a guy with the gun. And then they're like, that's when they talked about the murder of the cousin. I don't know if that is tied or if that's just trying to be a loose thread that we're trying to pull through.
Mhm.
I think it's a loose thread. I like Cindy. I think she does a great job.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think
Absolutely.
she's as accurate as Amy is, though. But
I
I
think-
love her. I think she does a great job. I love the different aspects she's
Mhm.
brought to the show. But
I
I
guess-
just feel like Amy was a bit more accurate.
I will agree to disagree, because I do think that there was plenty of episodes where there wasn't the same, and it's just
Mhm.
we can't find all the stories for all the history that's in the area, and doesn't mean that that's, Cindy smelled the smoke, or they talked about the smoke, and she's like, yep, that's him coming to check in on you guys. So when you smell
Yeah.
that's him coming in to check in. And I don't know, I guess I can't say here or there if that's where the accuracy falls in, but it feels along the same lines as with Amy, in my opinion.
Okay. So
The reveal.
we're gonna-
The
I
reveal.
will say I do like Cindy's sketches because she's not so robotic.
Yeah.
Yes, that is
Maybe
what I saw.
I
Maybe
like
it
how
doesn't
she
have to
says-
be as structured.
Yeah. I like
Yeah,
how
that's
how she says,
exactly what I
that's
saw.
exactly what I saw.
I
Yep.
loved it. Yep.
I did find it interesting. Anybody else catch that Steve didn't ask? We'll get started unless Cindy has any questions.
Oh,
Oh.
I didn't catch that.
He just said, we'll let Cindy say what she saw, or
Mhm.
something along those lines.
Maybe they told him not to say that. I don't know.
One thing that I caught that kind of irritated me during the reveal is they kept saying, so you guys can be a loving family again, so that they can be a loving family again.
Yeah.
Like, they are a loving family.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
That's
just
not the issue.
they're just having some happiness issues at times.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
let's not
Because it's the
cut-
paranormal.
let's not say that they're not a loving family. Like, they're all there trying. You don't have one sitting there saying, this is all bullshit, I don't know what
Yeah.
they're talking about, or
Yeah.
not even wanting to be a part
Right.
of the program. They're all loving.
Yeah. That's not the
So-
question. The question is there, like you said, the happiness issue.
Yeah. It just
And
kind of
it's not
felt like
even
that
not
was
happiness with each other. It's
Yeah.
happiness in the area.
in general. Because then,
Yeah.
like Carson, I think the young boy, he said that he'll get so mad sometimes, but he's not like that at school.
No.
He doesn't
Mhm.
have that at school.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it just felt like, was that something that they were scripting for them? And make sure you use this, because that'll catch
Mhm.
people, that'll pull people in. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
It could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah, so I just wrote, here's what Cindy recommended. Get a medium to get rid of Charles, who we didn't really go into, but he's the guy that sits in the chair next to the bed and stares at them. He was in one of the sketches. I know.
Yeah, we did talk a little bit about him. In the
Yeah, I mean, we
history.
talked about Charles, but not about how
Oh.
Cindy said that
Yeah.
he
Yep.
sits in the
He
chair in
sits
the bedroom.
chair and watches them, and
And
the
watches
sketch
them
was,
sleep.
He looked so angry in that sketch.
So creepy.
And they
yeah.
showed the sketch, and Job and Melissa were like, "Yeah, I've seen him before.
Mhm.
I've seen him around."
Well, and she
So-
said he's the one who sits on the couch downstairs.
"Yep."
Mhm.
And that's Cindy's like, "He's everywhere. He's all over the house. He's watching you all the time."
Gross.
And so,
Yeah.
and then this is one of those things that's like, well, why does he keep coming? Like, if he's coming to their house, is he also, because he owned hundreds of acres of land, is he
Right.
bothering other people? But they just
That's
either, like, they don't have an openness, or they're just
Mhm.
like not acknowledging him, or
Mhm.
because when things happened and this doorway opened up, he was like, fuck yeah, I can do this.
Yeah.
That's one of the questions that I have for all of these ones, that it's like, well, it wasn't the exact property, but it was nearby.
Nearby.
It was
Mhm.
part of this property. It was all of this, but it wasn't the exact house or something.
Yeah. I
Another
don't think
question
they
I
have
would
to be in the
have-
exact house.
Yeah.
Because
Would be, is their house, because the way that it looked from the drone footage was that, and maybe I didn't see it correctly, but it looked like there wasn't a lot of houses around them. Was that the case, or did I just miss other houses around them?
I
It
didn't
looked
get
like
that
it's a
feeling,
suburb
but
area, but
Oh, it's suburb. Okay.
yeah. But there's no, like, greenery around, so that
Right.
makes it difficult too when you're looking
Yeah.
at things.
Oh yeah. So get a medium, and then that Daisy, the daughter, needs to see a medium.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yep.
what they did is get a Catholic exorcism and a blessing of the house.
Same
But they
thing.
said everything's better, so
Yeah, they said it's later.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So
I mean,
again,
if
we
it's
don't.
better for them, that's great. Like
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
so they could be loving again,
Since they weren't before.
since it was just hatefulness everywhere.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like especially with all the kids and everything going on. And since they all had so many experiences and
Mhm.
not just like, in previous episodes, we've seen some have some kind of experiences like, yeah, it could have been this or it could have been
Yeah.
this, but each one of them had something that they saw
Definitively.
or
Yeah.
felt definitively.
Millie was pushed. No, wasn't
Yeah,
Millie.
it was Millie.
Was it Millie that was oh yeah,
She
that's
was
right,
held
'cause
out or like
yeah.
pushed off the couch or whatever.
And,
Yep.
Yeah.
and Melissa said you could hear her fall. Like you
Yep.
heard her fall down in the next room. So yeah.
Those poor kids.
I know.
I hope they're doing
Well,
well.
Hope they're loving. Loving family.
Well,
Oh,
at least
boy.
it seems like they have a good support system because,
Yes.
they were being believed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's that's what helps.
For sure.
So
Awesome.
all right. Well, thank you everybody
Yeah.
for joining us yet again
Yet again.
for the delightful Activity
Chaotic.
podcast. Chaotic North-South podcast.
Amy will be on vacation when this airs. So next week, we'll be releasing an episode we recorded a few weeks ago called The Only Explanation. You may have heard us saying some things about the only explanation, where we coined our new phrase, only explanation is it's paranormal.
Yep.
We
It's
also
on our
covered
t-shirts now.
Yes, we have
Yeah.
t-shirts. So
So
Amy will
awesome.
put that link in the show notes and you
Yeah.
can go buy it. We've already ordered ours because
Yeah.
I
It's-
just love it so much.
it works so well.
It does.
And we covered a Dead Files episode from a previous season called Hell's Kitchen. It was season 14, episode 7. It was one that I saw when I was looking for something that was a non-home or family related
Mhm.
and wanted to find something. There's several restaurants and hotels that they get kind of fun to do. So,
Yeah. I like those
Enjoy.
too.
It's a nice break too from the homes.
mhm.
Yeah.
So yes, go listen, enjoy the laughs, and order your t-shirt because
Yeah.
you're gonna want to.
You are. You're going to want one. They're all redesigned. New font.
Yep.
New. Puka's the same, but
well,
new
Puka's
colors.
got the pink earphones.
Yeah,
though.
Puka's got this season's headphones with the little microphone.
Mhm.
But yeah,
They did not have those last season, and they were blue last season, and this
That's
season
right.
they're pink.
that's right. I keep
Yeah.
finding like the old stickers, like
Mhm.
on. I'm like, that looks so old.
Did you spell paranormal right there?
I did.
Paranormal.
Paranormal. No, I
Paranormal.
spelled it right. I didn't spell it right on here though.
Words are hard for us,
That's
you
the
guys.
paranormal one
Paranormal.
on the can koozie.
Those are going to be worth money one day, you guys. So
Well,
A whole like
we're the only ones that have them, so
we're just going to wait for the money to flood in.
I fixed it before anybody else ordered one. So
Too bad.
that's
All right.
I love it.
Well, thanks,
right.
everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.
Thank you for listening to the Activity Continues podcast. We really appreciate you giving us your ears for a bit. Please reach out if you have a suggestion for which episode of the Dead Files we should cover next, or if you have a spooky story you'd like us to share on the show. We can be reached at theactivitycontinues@gmail.com or through our website or any of our socials. Links are all in the description of the show. Please feel free to drop us a note and say hi. And join us next time when the activity continues. The Activity Continues is produced by me, Amy, at Collected Sounds Media and is part of the independent Collected Sounds podcast network. We are also proud members of the Boo Pod network of super cool podcasts.
Nailed it.